AI is often actually framed as a threat to jobs, but reality is actually much more subtle, I would say. So let's say from prompt engineers to AI auditors, algorithmic ethicists, or LLM fine-tuning specialists.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Business Narrative. All these queries and all these questions that you have in your mind that AI will going to replace us will going to be discussed with Etibar Aliyev. Etibar, thank you so much for your precious time. And he is the one who has been working in this industry in AI from day one.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for your invitation.
It's totally an honor for us having you at the bar. My first segment, first few minutes, first few questions will going to be revolved around this particular segment, which is called jobs versus AI. Thus, like many people are very furious that AI will going to replace us. This is a reality?
I think that the main debate is around actually if AI is a job killer or job creator. So AI is often actually framed as a threat to jobs, but reality is actually much more subtle, I would say. Yes, certain repetitive or rule-based tasks will be automated, but history shows us that the technology actually rarely eliminates work altogether. It generally actually reshapes it. Okay, so what AI does best is free humans actually from repetitive tasks, so they can focus on higher value, creative, and strategic work. So, for instance, let's say marketing analysts used to spend some hours on cleaning the data, but at this point, this is much more easier. So this repetitive task can basically help those marketing analysts just to spend much more time on some creative tasks rather than cleaning the data. So AI is also, creating entirely new categories of jobs. So let's say from prompt engineers to AI auditors, algorithmic ethicists, or LLM fine-tuning specialists. So, in fact, my current work with some association is a prime example of how new roles are emerging. One of my job is actually dealing with bias mitigation in AI. So the real challenge is not job loss, to be honest. It's more about reskilling. So generally, like businesses that invest in workforce development will not only survive, but thrive, I would say, in this AI-driven environment.
Your all the points are very valid and your insights are very valuable for me and for the listeners as well. So do let me know, like you talked about prompt engineering, we have listened about mechanical, electrical engineering, software engineering, but what does prompt engineering means, right? In a simple manner, can you elaborate? And secondly, do let me know, if we collecting data with the help of AI, is that data is trustworthy?
Yeah, so like prompt engineers are by and large are engineers. Like let's say if someone has expertise or experience, let's say in software engineer and works as prompt engineer. So basically using the prompt, he's trying to get the results back, which is like kind of speeding the up whole process. Let's say someone is software engineer and generally used to look for something on, let's say Google, but now using LLM, they are basically putting the prompt, which is basically context a text about, like, let's say maybe some part of the code they are looking for, and they are trying to fix some bugs. So in this case, they are just simply putting the text to the LLM and trying to get the answer from that. But when it comes to the second question, generally trust is I would say, the core of the AI adoption. It's kind of like currency, I would call. So without that, even the most powerful models won't be used. So building the trust actually starts, I would call it like it starts with the transparency. So more precisely explaining the things in a plain language. So let's say if you are using the AI, how AI systems make decisions. So this is more about the transparency part. So it requires some sort of like accountability frameworks where basically businesses have clear protocols for handling bias, error, and maybe like some unintended consequences. So if we look at back to the prompt engineer, let's say if someone like doesn't have enough trust in AI, let's say for instance in LLM, then in this case, like prompt engineer won't be working, right? So there is supposed to be some sort of trust so that prompt engineer can possibly get the reliable result. But in my own work, I have, for instance, helped designing like interpretability frameworks, benchmarking process, which generally gives stakeholders visibility into how models behave under different conditions. So this generally ensures AI systems are not like black boxes. So it's something that can be comprehended. It's not something incomprehensible, basically. But generally, for businesses, trust also comes from, let's say, some sort of like responsible deployment, right? So if someone is just trying to deploy some sort of like system, then in this case, they need to make sure that their AI aligns with the ethical principles, maybe some sort of like regulatory standards. So ultimately, if people know that your AI is explainable, fair, and aligned with their values, the adoption will follow naturally. So that's why this is more about like trust in using AI.
My point of concern is, like many people, many there are many non-technical founders. They are not familiar with AI. So how they can use in initial days these tools, and secondly, these AI tools help only small enterprises or larger enterprises. What is your take on it?
That is a good question. So basically, I would say that really depends on like the clients they have. So like how many people are basically using their system. But generally, it is better to use it like for like if you have many customers, then you are trying to, let's say, alleviate the burden on someone else. So let's say, for instance, if there is like customer support services and you're trying to basically maybe like speed up some process, it can be more precisely AI powered, like for instance, customer service. But the main idea is not to take the job, but somehow reduce the amount of the work that's been spent on. So a founder, generally for founders, the key is not to build AI for AI's sake, actually, but to start with a clear business problem. So the MVP should be generally one focus, like laser focus. So one specific pain point, like where AI can make a measurable difference. So for instance, instead of building, as I mentioned previously, instead of building like whole customer service AI, a founder might start focusing on AI-powered FAQ assistant, like which is frequently asked questions, right? So this can somehow reduce the ticket volume by 20%, which is significant enough actually to reduce any burden on customer support specialists. So I think the co-founders should really focus on something that there is some business value, and they need to somehow sort it out, like solve the problem at hand. So that should be the main thing, I would say.
So another question is, which is very relevant: what is the right time to hire an AI expert in your firm? Like you have been giving you have been giving your services to dozens of companies from last many years. So according to your experience, what is the right time to hire an AI expert for a business? It can be a product or service.
So it really depends on the stage, I would say. For early startups, I would highly recommend looking for something like hybrid role, someone, let's say, who understands like both data engineering, applied machine learning. You need also someone who can get hands-on with your data, like build prototypes, translate like business needs into technical requirements. Because as you grow, let's say, you will branch out into some specialists, right? So you will have different specialists like ML engineers, data scientists, AI engineers, etc. But that first hire should be more versatile, I would say, like something like entrepreneur mindset. So comfortable working with like limited short resources. So in my experience, like advising some people working in startups, the best first AI hire is not just a coder. They are specifically strategic partner, I would say, who can basically communicate with executives and developers, who can explain let's say, AI in a simple terms. If there is like any potential, let's say, someone investors there. So that's where I think would be the main features the first AI hires should have.
So now I will going to detrack you a little bit because we have a surprise rapid fire round, and you have to answer the questions very quickly. Any secret talent that nobody knows about yourself?
Good question. So like it's just like fast. So I'm trying to think of maybe something like being able to um, like help someone believe in something. Like this is one of the skills. Some people maybe don't know, I believe, but yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Any decision that you regret in your past?
From my past. So I mean, I generally hate regret things. So I mean, I try to accept it as is. It's just like the life experience. But maybe I should have moved to AI, like not AI. Or let's say, like in the past, it wasn't AI. It was more like data science, machine learning. It even like data processing, robotics process back in the time. So I if I had chance to, let's say, go back in the past, I mean, like go back in time to the past, I would have started this process from the very early. Uh, yeah.
Are you politically correct every time? Hmm?
I try to be political correct as much as possible, but I also try to listen because because the questions you are asking is not like doesn't really have like one fixed answer. So it changes based on the cases, but mostly I try to be as political correct as possible.
But last not the least, how you will going to rate your driving skills out of 10?
Maybe like 6 out of 10.
So now, I'm going to ask you. We have to come back on the track. So I will going to ask you this very informative and a very important question. Like we know that AI know multiple of languages, but the main core language is English. If let's suppose that English is not my native language, so how I can train? How can I talk to AI, or how I can create my own prompts in my mother tongue? If I create that, will AI going to understand that?
Good question, actually. So, like, if someone doesn't really have like, let's say, advanced level, let's say, higher proficiency in English, then in this case, that person can possibly break down the whole complex problem into steps because, let's say, specifically if you are using like LLMs, there is like, you can simply just break down all the process, like whole problem into specific steps and just using like simple verbs like in each step just to clearly explain like LLM what they are trying to get out of it. So this is more about I would say like the way you communicate, you try to communicate with like AI tool like LLM. Yeah, I mean the first thing would be probably just to put the main keywords in all steps and just try to get the answer out of it. So that's the best way you can be successful like doing so. But when it comes to like AI tools, like there are many different tools actually that people can utilize. So for if you are interested in using like improving your coding skills or maybe like getting some help specifically in bugging, then there is like the cursor I utilize a lot. So there's like the VS Code inside of that if you are really using that. So there is like different LLM tools like Gemini or even GPT. Those are also good to look for. I mean, this really depends. So for like there is a huge competition among like all LLM companies, but depending on the need, you can really search in different LLM tools. There's like if you are interested in like the presentation side, I think I can advise like a Canva, which has really good AI specific features. So and there is like, for instance, Google generally release like I think like that was like Gemini CLI. That's also good for coders and software engineers.
So thank you so much for precious time. As you know that we have a time limit, but before leaving any message for aspiring people, for aspiring entrepreneurs, those people who are juggling around but they are not getting the desired results.
Advice is quite simple. Just start before you feel ready. Okay, because the AI landscape is evolving too quickly for anyone to wait until they have mastered it. So the winners, I think, will be those who experiment, learn, and adapt in real time. So you have to start as soon as possible. But if you are really interested and you have some sort of like knowledge so far, and you are willing to learn something, obviously. And second thing would be you don't have to get lost actually in the hype. You have to focus on solving real problems for real people. So AI is a mean, not an end, obviously. So you have to really try to focus on like what kind of business value you can bring, basically. And finally, would be like you have to build it responsibly, because if you are trying to leave some sort of like a lasting legacy, then in this case you will try to combine innovation with some sort of accountability, because which is comes back to like trustworthiness. We were talking about that previously, like fairness and some sort of like ethical values, because like AI systems are not powerful, but it's really up to us how we customize it as per the need. That's where I can highly recommend to aspiring co-founders, basically.
That's all from today's episode. I hope you will going to love the podcast. If you love the podcast, do subscribe the channel, press the bell icon. We will be going to meet you in the next podcast. Till then, keep daring, keep listening to the business narrative.